I want you to know how happy I am to be in Canada. This is a wonderful and exhilarating country. I feel proud and happy to be queen of such a nation.
She is a woman of duty. She will remain the monarch until the last day, I'm sure. She's the Queen of Canada.
Queen Elizabeth, in her own words.
He and my husband would like to see far more of this wonderful country.
And in the words of those who've met her.
I was stunned that a person of her status could succeed so quickly and make me feel like I was speaking to an ordinary person.
Yours is a land that seizes the soul and captures the imagination.
She's outlasted every political figure in the world.
This is a relationship that spans decades, and there are stories you've never heard before.
She told me that she will never abdicate.
We take you inside the castle she calls home.
This is from the Queen's private jewelry collection. It's come from her apartment.
We look at the deep complications of the Canadian crown.
I think that she knows that there's a lot of unfinished business.
I am not just a fair-weather friend. Canada is a country worth working for.
The monarchy is a storybook that needs to end in Canada.
I think we should never underestimate even a symbolic role.
We peer into the future and look at what it could hold.
Wherever the future may take us, my admiration and affection for Canada is and will always remain clear, strong, and sure.
I don't think we'll see her like again. Young Lilibet was born in 1926, and she lived in sight of Buckingham Palace on the corner of Piccadilly and Park Lane. And it's said that when she was quite young, there would be a moment every morning where the king with binoculars would look towards her house, and Lilibet would stand on a box and wave at the king.
Once upon a time, as all tales of princesses should begin, young Elizabeth, Lilibet to her family, went for a walk at Windsor Castle with her grandfather, King George V, Grandpa England, as she called him. They went to a little log cabin built by the lumberjacks of the Canadian Forestry Corps. She believed, as the story goes, that to step into that house was to step into Canada. There, she played host for tea parties with Grandpa England. The emotional ties to Canada strong from the start.
In 1939 was the first visit of a king and queen to Canada.
The Queen and I are looking forward with anticipation to seeing all we possibly can of this vast country.
And I think it was thought out very well by the British, that they thought they would rouse sentiment in Canada to be loyal to Great Britain when Great Britain went to war.
The very first walkabout for the royal family occurred in Canada in 1939. That was a huge innovation.
1939, that rare moment rarely preserved in full color. King George VI and the Queen Consort meeting Canadians on Canadian soil. To mark the occasion, on her lapel, the maple leaf brooch, a gift from the King and a tradition's debut. That whole trip set a tone that stuck. Royal visits to Canada should be personal, intimate. The stories from '39 told again and again.
Two Boer War veterans argued for weeks before my parents' arrival. One said, she was born in Scotland, so I say she's Scots. The other said, she married an Englishman, so I say she's English. When the two were presented to Her Majesty, they asked, are you Scots or are you English? My mother paused and then replied, "Since I have landed in Quebec, I think we can say I'm a Canadian."
This visit was incredibly powerful in terms of the young 13-year-old Lilibet's imagination, and it showed what a huge role her parents occupied on the world stage, a role which all too soon she would inherit.
Barely a decade later and still so young, it was Princess Elizabeth riding those Canadian trains, filling in for her ailing father, a road test of her destiny.
The first tour of Canada, I think people said, why doesn't she smile all the time? Because her mother had smiled all the time. And in fact, she said, I'm sore, my face is sore from smiling. Philip could hardly move his hand from waving.
The stops they made were almost out of a 1950s travel guide. Niagara Falls, a special stampede, the quintessential sleigh ride, all of it a whirlwind of weather and wonder. The Canadian public were briefed for weeks on how to curtsy, the right greetings, what to wear in case they encountered the woman who would be queen, their queen.
She's traveled to Canada more often than any of the other Commonwealth countries. And she does really have a special affection for this country and its values.
Wherever we have been, throughout the 10 provinces, through fields, forests, prairies and mountains, we have been welcomed with a warmth of heart that has made us feel how truly we belong to Canada.
22 times Queen Elizabeth has ventured to Canada. No nation has hosted her more often. Counting the trip she made as princess, it's 23 tours. And if you consider the imagination of a little girl in a log cabin, it's 24.
It is not easy to say goodbye, because although I am going to a country which is my first home, I am also leaving a country which has become a second home in every sense.
Canada as home. That feeling, that phrase would echo in the decades to come, no matter how complicated things were about to get.